In this video, we'll talk about angles and their measures, as well as the angle addition postulate and how to classify angles as acute, right, obtuse, or straight. An angle is defined as a shape, and I know a lot of you guys have learned about angles before, so this is the very introduction to what an angle is and just proper notation here, but it is defined as a shape formed by two lines or rays diverging. Another word for diverging could be splitting from a common endpoint called a vertex. So when I'm looking at the diagram below, point A is what we label as our vertex. Proper notation for an angle would be using a symbol, an angle symbol, and we can list the three letters that make up the angle with the vertex in the middle. So BAC is one way to name that angle on the left, or angle CAB, where you also see that A is the vertex that's in the middle. And a third way to name it would be just angle A. Now with the third way of naming it, we want to be careful that there's only one angle in the diagram with A as the vertex, like we see here. So it's fine for us to use the vertex so long as that's the only angle in the diagram and it's clear that there's one angle being referred to as A. So when we're measuring an angle and we want to talk about the measurement of an angle, we stick a letter M in front of the angle symbol. So the measure of angle A, for example, could be 30 degrees, could be pi over 6 radians. So as many of you know, angles are measured in degrees. And then as we advance to trigonometry next year, we'll learn about how we use radians to measure angles in a more efficient manner and how to convert between degrees or radians. So for now, moving on, we're going to talk about congruent angles, and angles that have the same measure are what we call congruents. So in our diagram here below, both of those angles show measurements of 30 degrees. So we would say angle BAC is congruent, and the congruent symbol is the equal sign with the squiggly on top is congruent to angle DEF. And again, just the definition of congruence is that the measure of angle BAC being 30 degrees is equal to the measure of angle DEF. Adjacent angles, adjacent means next to. So adjacent angles share a common vertex and a common side, but have no common interior points. And we'll come back to this in a minute. So if I'm looking at example 1 and I want to name the adjacent angles in the figure, I will color code this. Angle XWY is adjacent to angle YWZ. So we see that they share a common vertex and a common side, with the common side and I'll refer to this diagram in my notes here. For where the definition is for adjacent angle, I'll just mention that the angle W in that diagram is the common endpoint, and the common side would be WY, the ray WY. So in the definition of adjacent angles, we talk about interior points. Interior points and exterior points of an angle are, if I'm looking at the very last diagram on this page, angle PQR, the points that are inside the angle are the interior points. So all of these pink dots that I'm drawing, these are interior points, as opposed to points that are outside. These are called exterior points. So in the definition, it has said that adjacent angles have no common interior points. So you'll see that these blue points inside the blue angle have no commonalities with the pink points, so they don't overlap each other. And so that's what the definition of an adjacent angle is. that you don't have any common interior points.